Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to be looking at the area of a circle in a bit more detail. This time you probably already know the formula. So one way we can prove the area of a circle is we can break it down into little bits. So let's say we have a circle like this one, and then we split this up into 8 parts. You can see we get a shape kind of very badly looks like a rectangle. If we were to split this up into even more parts, you would get something that looks a bit better, a bit closer to a rectangle. And you can kind of keep going until to the point where you end up with quite a lot of parts. So let's just say so many parts, millions or approaching infinity, tending to infinity. If you were to put all of those sectors together, you would essentially have, when you put them all together, what is essentially a perfect rectangle. So once you have that rectangle, you can actually work out the area of that rectangle, which is the same as the area of the circle. So one thing we can see is the height here is the same as the radius, because those are just millions of or lots of sectors that we have on the side. And in the base, it's going to be half of the circumference. Not the whole circumference, just half of it, because we've unrolled that bit. And the other half of the circumference on the top, but you don't need that. So half of the circumference, we know where the circumference is pi d. So we're going to half that. Or in other words, 2 pi r, half of that is just going to be pi r. So then when you do the area of the rectangle, which is pi r times the radius, which is the height, you get pi r squared, which is the formula for area of a circle, any circle. Okay, so you can copy that into your books if you want to, and there's just an example of area of a circle. A few more examples here. You can try these now and then continue the video in 2 seconds. Okay, so question 1, you should get 66.5, and question 2, 64 pi. Now, this exercise, just like the previous video, is not going to be compulsory. If you want to do some practice, you can do this exercise. I'll give you the PDF for this with the answers. So let's deal with simple fractions of a circle. So in this case, you can see it's a quarter of a circle. So to work out the area of this sector, you just do the area of the full circle and then divide it by 4. So pi r squared, so pi times 6 squared, and then divide it by 4, and you get 9 pi. Now, if you're working out the perimeter of a shape like this, you need to be careful not to forget to work out these 2 lengths here. So the perimeter of this is going to be, the perimeter is the circumference of this circle, the whole circle, divided by 4, because there's only, you have a quarter of it here. So you should do 2 times pi times 6 divided by 4. That gives you the arc length there. And then these 2 bits here, you just add 6 and 6, and then you simplify it to get 3 pi plus 12. Have a go with these questions here. Pause the video. Okay, so for area and circumference, here are your answers. And moving on. I'm not going to do this. If you want to do it, I'll just show you the answers in a second. You don't have to do this exercise though, because I'm confident you guys can do it already. So this is also optional, but we're going to look at some methods for some more complicated shapes. So you're probably familiar with shapes like this. They're called rectilinear shapes because they're shapes that have just right angles, or compound shapes as well, as when you combine different shapes together. You can either work this out, you can work this out in 2 different ways. The additive method is where you split the shape up into 2 rectangles. So you got one here and one here. You could also just draw a line across there, and then you end up with a rectangle here and a big rectangle on the top. And the subtractive method is if you were to treat this whole thing as a massive rectangle and then take away this bit. So just a little sketch there, you would do 12 times 13 take away 6 times 8. Either way, you'll get the same answer. Either way is, as good as each other, but we're going to look at some shapes where the methods, choosing which of these methods is going to be crucial. So here's a few shapes for you to try. Again, you should be very quick for you to work these out. Just work out a few examples here, pause the video. So you should have 1, 2, 3. Those are your answers, if you get those correct. And then we'll leave this. If you want to try it, I'll show you the answers here. You can have a go. And subtractive methods. So this is becoming more common in the 9-to-1 exams, where you have a shape and you're working out, for example, in this case, the black region. The black region is not a shape that you know, but altogether you can see it's a circle and a square. So you can work out, you can probably figure this out. The area of the black bit is just going to be the square, take away the circle. So this subtractive method is becoming a lot more common in exams, so be aware of that. These are fairly straightforward examples. On the worksheet, you'll see some harder ones. So you just do 64, take away 16 pi. You can leave that as exact. And then here, the area is going to be 20, take away 50 pi. So you're going to be doing exercise 4. This exercise is compulsory, so it's the first sheet that you're expected to do. The other sheets that I've shown you today, you don't have to do those. And we'll continue this in after you've done that worksheet, then you continue the playlist, and I'll see you in the next video.